In the dead of night, on October 27, 1919, a shadow fell over New Orleans. He was a brutal, almost supernatural figure who slipped into homes through chiseled-out door panels, attacked his victims with their own axes, and then vanished without a trace. His reign of terror was so profound that he even sent a taunting letter to the newspapers, promising to spare anyone who played jazz music in their homes on a specific night. The city complied, and the air filled with the sounds of ragtime and blues, a desperate plea for mercy. And then, as mysteriously as he appeared, he stopped. For months, there was silence. People began to breathe again, hoping the nightmare was finally over. But the Axeman had one last brutal act to perform. That last move was against a guy named Mike. Mike was a grocer, a husband, and a father. He lived with his wife, Esther, and their 6 children in a small apartment behind their grocery store in the suburb of Gretna, just across the Mississippi River. The night of October 27th started like any other. The family had gone to bed, the city was quiet, and the fear of the Axeman had begun to fade into a dark memory. But sometime after midnight, a scream shattered the peace of the Pepitone home. Esther Pepitone woke to a horrifying scene. A large, dark figure was standing over her husband's bed. In the dim light, she saw him bring an axe down on Mike. She screamed, and the attacker turned towards her. A struggle ensued. Esther, despite her terror, fought back fiercely. The intruder was a powerful man, but in her desperation to protect her family, she managed to fight him off. The commotion woke their 2 eldest daughters, who rushed into the room. Seeing them, the attacker fled, disappearing into the darkness just as he always had. But this time, he was seen. Esther and her daughters got a fleeting glimpse of the man who had terrorized their city. They said he was a big, heavy-set white guy, and that fits with what other witnesses said about past attacks. When the police arrived, they found a scene of utter chaos. The back door panel was chiseled out, the Axeman's signature entry method. Inside, Mike Pepitone was mortally wounded. Blood was everywhere. The heavy, bloodied axe was left at the scene, just like the Axeman always does. Mike was rushed to the hospital but died just a few hours later from his severe head injuries. He was the Axeman's final confirmed victim. The city was once again thrown into a panic. The monster was back. But this attack was different. This time, there were credible witnesses who had seen him up close. The investigation that followed the Pepitone murder was intense, but it led nowhere. The description of a large, heavy-set white man was too vague to identify anyone in a city the size of New Orleans. The police were stumped. And then, just as suddenly as he had reappeared, the Axeman vanished for good. After the attack on Mike Pepitone, there were no more letters, no more chiseled doors, no more midnight assaults. The Axeman of New Orleans became a ghost, a legend whispered in the alleys of the French Quarter. The case went cold, and for decades, it remained one of America's most chilling, unsolved mysteries. Who was he? Why did he stop? But the story doesn't end there. Over a year later, in December 1920, a man named Joseph Mumford was shot and killed in Los Angeles. The shooter, it's Esther Pepitone, the widow of the Axeman SLS victim. When questioned, Esther claimed that Mumford was, in fact, the Axeman of New Orleans. She asserted that she recognized him as the man who murdered her husband. The problem was, Mumford had a documented history that made this claim complicated. He was a known criminal, a leader of a blackmailing gang in New Orleans, and had previously served time in prison under a different name. Some records even suggested he was imprisoned during some of the Axeman's attacks. Esther Pepitone was never charged for the killing, with authorities deeming it a justifiable act of revenge. Did Esther Pepitone really unmask and take down the infamous Axeman? I mean, how wild is that? Or was Joseph Mumford simply a convenient target for a woman seeking vengeance for her husband's unsolved murder, perhaps related to his own criminal dealings? The truth died with them. The murder of Mike Pepitone marked a definitive end of the Axeman's rampage. But the mystery only deepened. The case remains officially unsolved to this day, a terrifying chapter in New Orleans history where music was the only shield against a phantom with an axe. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more dives into history's darkest mysteries. See you next time.